And the mayor goes on the TV screen and goes, it's about weight. It is I Heart New York. Thank you, next.
Perfect discussion for being here in New York City, but welcome back to POVz. I am so excited to introduce our special guest for today, the one, the only Alyson Stoner. Alyson is an actor, an entrepreneur, a musician, a creative, truly an icon, and also one of my dear friends. So without further ado, I'm so excited to welcome Alyson Stoner from Movement Genius. Woo! Yay! Alyson is no stranger to this couch. We've shared some intimate moments here.
It is true. And to clarify, intimate, we mean verbally intimate moments on the couch. Yes.
Tears had been shed.
Tears and emotional connection and deep friendship.
Absolutely. Alyson, welcome back.
Thanks.
As you heard a little bit earlier, our conversation today has really been all about mental health, but more specifically, therapy. And we've all been answering the question, should everyone be in therapy? So not to put you on the hot seat, but I would love to hear your point of view on that question.
As someone who runs a mental health company now and who also has been in therapy since 12 or 13 years old, you might be surprised to know that my stance on this initially is no, if, and this is the big if. First, if they have access to a support network and community of people who model healthy, secure attachments and interpersonal relating, and also can provide safe, confidential spaces when needed. If the person has the skill innately of compassionate self-reflection, as opposed to judging yourself and your experience, if the person has a set of coping mechanisms already that are not leading to their own demise, but allow them to regulate, understand their nervous system, and if you already have sort of a preventative mental health routine, kind of like, fitness for the body, what does your mental health hygiene routine look like? Then I might say, yeah, you might be okay without formal one-on-one counseling. However, if you find yourself with symptoms and or habits that seem to be really interfering with your daily life, your ability to function or connect with people, if you find that there's some big life transition or an event that is just really, it has a hold on you, if you don't have safe places to go or people to speak with who really want your highest good and your wholeness, then definitely strongly advocate for therapy. If that's the big question, or the big word, it's accessible and affordable and even something that you can participate in.
I wanted to just take a moment for all of you who are not already aware. Alyson has built this incredible digital wellness platform that creates live and on-demand classes and workshops all around helping us better improve our mind-body connection, our mental, physical, spiritual, emotional health. Alyson, can you share a little bit about what inspired you to start Movement Genius?
Yes, absolutely. So circumstantially, it was the start of the pandemic when I recognized all of us are now stuck inside and we no longer have access to the coping mechanisms or the support network we relied on. So people were with their mind, with their body, freaking out. And I happen to have several certifications in the mind-body space and trauma-informed movement facilitation space. And so I thought I can offer some free virtual classes. And after 14 days of Instagram lives, sharing mind-body stress relief techniques, 100,000 people showed up and they asked, where can we find these classes on demand? And so that signaled to us an opportunity to provide these tools to a wider group of people, but we wanted to be really specific about who we were serving, who was representing these tools in terms of our faculty, and ensuring that they're not only trauma-informed, but also multiculturally competent. And so our first step immediately was like, I can't be the only mouthpiece here. We need a ton of instructors who have different lived experiences, different training, different literal physical embodiments, so that the tools we design really can be used by everyone comfortably. Really at the heart of this is recognizing we don't always have to outsource our authority to really reclaim a sense of agency over your well-being. Like, let go of the diet and fitness industry, let go of all these different ways that we feel like we can't trust our own experience, and learn the tools that really empower you.
I would love to know what like your personal experiences were, or what were some of the key personal experiences that led to you feeling like, you know what, I want to go on this IG Live and I want to share these tools.
Even though I grew up as a dancer and there's an assumption that you might be really deeply connected with your body, I was diagnosed with a condition called alexithymia. Do you know this term? Okay, cool. Yay. So a simplified definition is it was the inability to name or identify what I was experiencing or feeling in my body. My therapist introduced me to tools beyond talk therapy, somatic tools that incorporated my body, and we spent every week for years. She patiently helped me learn how to safely re-inhabit my body, start to feel emotions, name them, understand them, regulate, and it was the most empowering experience because I was no longer an enemy. I didn't feel like my body was an enemy, and I also wasn't constantly confused about what I was experiencing.
And in the work that you've done, which you've done a lot, right? How has hypervisibility affected your mental health? Which I know is a loaded question.
That's such a big question. Oof. Okay. Well, as someone who is a public figure in some degree, in some ways, I have to recognize at all times that if there are 12,000 people watching me at a show, there are 12,000 projections taking place. You kind of have to learn how to create a distance, and not only from people who are criticizing you, but also people who are praising you. Because I could choose to disproportionately focus on the positive comments, and I would still have a very skewed sense of self. You know, there's also a sense of the difference between wanting to be genuine in a moment without having to be fully transparent and give you every detail of my life.
I'd love to know if there's anything you could teach us or leave us with to maybe help us better navigate the world around us, or even selfishly when we're in these heated conversations. What are maybe some tools or tips that you could share that can help us navigate?
Okay, so I'll start with something that is engaging our minds, and then I'll share a little stress relief technique that you can do basically without anyone even noticing that you're doing it. The way that I like to frame self-inquiry is asking questions that have to do with your internal experience and questions that have to do with external experience. So if someone is asking a question that seems to be causing a strong reaction, I like to ask, what are the external risks and consequences at play based on whether this thing does or doesn't happen? Just to get to know, what do I feel threatened by, that I feel so just like gung-ho about, like proving you wrong or clarifying and defending. So just getting to know what are the risks externally and internally that signal that kind of fight or flight response in conversation. Then when you're in that mode and you're like, can I please just calm down a little bit? One technique I like to use is bilateral tapping. It's, if you'd like to try with me, you can. You can simply tap either on your legs, you can cross your arms if you prefer to tap on your arms, or you can even make like a butterfly position here and tap on your chest. So just pick whichever feels most comfortable at the moment. And over time, as you're alternating side to side, what this is doing is it's helping connect both brain hemispheres, so you're able to integrate information on both sides of the brain, so you don't feel stuck in logic, unable to access emotion, or stuck in emotion, unable to access logic. And what's wonderful is that over time, this rhythmic motion can help slow down the pace of your thoughts. It also can help ground because you have that tactile sensation, and it can harmonize the information. So
I like it.
I
like the butterfly one.
Yes,
That
yes.
one is really
It grounds your body the most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
really hits you.
It stops you.
It's
from
like a
doing anything else.
self-hug.
Yes.
And my therapist actually recently introduced it to me.
Oh,
On a
wonderful.
session. Like I was really anxious and she was like, let's do something called bilateral tapping.
Great, yes.
And I was like at home in my bedroom, like,
yes,
it was really
truly.
helpful.
And I love that you named something that felt good for your system. Like,
Mhm.
pay attention to that, honor that cue, build that trust with your body. It does incorporate some self-holding, which is a different tool that people use for PTSD. So it's like, there are so many wonderful ways with just your mind and body that you can feel better.
And
More
I-
are available at Movement
I was going to
Genius.
say, I learned so much even from just following Movement Genius. I've definitely taken a lot of stretching classes and the At Your Desk series, but highly recommend each of you to check it out. It's definitely helped me just know how to navigate my environment and my
Yeah.
life. So thank you.
My pleasure. I
Wow.
need it too.
Well, Alyson, so happy you're here with us today. And as we wrap up our conversation, I just want to know what each of you are taking away from today. Have you had an echo chamber expanding or breaking moment? Are you understanding something more about yourself or someone else? What are you leaving today with?
I will say it does make me a bit cynical knowing or having the perspective that I have on mental health and seeing the way that I feel people are misportraying mental health. But I like understanding where you're coming from, what all of you are coming from when it comes to like working on nonprofit organizations and the way that some people are doing things more effectively or more ethically than others. That's a perspective I just never even considered.
I think for me, it's realizing that we all recognize how much Gen Z plays a role in taking on the world's trauma and how much we can continue to see and how much we're exposed to and how we're able to focus that down into what we care about. And I also learned a lot about that we all think about how there's a difference between activism and what's appropriate and what people are doing behind the screen. So
I think this space was just really wonderful. I think it reminds me of how empowering young people are in this space. I think often people try to silence us or they try to really discard our views because they think we're too young, but I think we're all doing really amazing things. And so to be in this space with all of you, I'm actually very, very grateful. So thank you.
Yeah, and I would say for me, it was really amazing just being in community. I don't do a lot of this work with others beyond, a couple of like on-sites and things of that nature. A lot of my work is digital. So when I have the chance to connect with others, it's always amazing. Just really grateful for, again, community.
Love it. I mean, I came in today feeling like I had a hard yes on should everyone be in therapy. And I think through each of your points of view, I learned a lot. And Jasmine, you in particular, I think sharing your experience as a woman of color and how you've struggled to find the right therapist that could really meet you where you are with your lived experiences, that expanded my mind because I do think a lot of my experiences have been a result of me benefiting from institutions that are centered towards people who look like me and have experiences like me. So thank you for opening my own perception. And I think it's something I'm going to take with me for a long time. Alyson, what about you? Is there anything you're taking today?
Ooh, I just wish I got here sooner. I want to do this again, and I want to get into all of the details. Let's get granular.
Let's
That's
do
like
it.
granular.
We'll do a part 3.
let's
Yes,
get hot
please.
take oriented.
Yes.
Absolutely. But I appreciate you so much for being here today, each and every one of you. Like I said, the purpose of today's conversation was really to just push us to consider different points of view and lived experiences and even just interacting with people outside of our own backgrounds and belief systems. So thank you for coming to the couch with the spice, but also with the ears to listen. And I think today really taught each of us so much about what it looks like to have a conversation that can really bring us together. And I was surprised that we had a lot of common ground. It's not always to be expected, right? It happens over time, but I think each of us agreed to some extent that there should be a level of mental health education introduced for young people in some way or another. I think we also all agreed.
Oh, you missed that.
I missed that, but that was something I meant to say too. Is like
Totally.
if social and emotional learning was provided in
SEL.
supportive, Anyway, sorry.
I'm glad it resonated. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we also all agreed that medication is necessary in certain circumstances when it's needed and it's something that we should be talking about even more. And even though we disagreed on what we think the best milk alternative or milk is for our coffee, I think we did find a lot of common ground when it came to this topic of therapy and mental health. So thank you all so much for being here. And I have to ask you one more yes or no question. You can say yes, you can say no, you don't have to agree, but would you be open to continuing this conversation today?
Of course.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
Amazing. And just to give some background, we love to ask that question because, again, we can't unify the world after one single dialogue. But if we can commit to continuing this and pushing each other and helping each other learn, I think we'll get there. So I can't wait to keep this conversation going. And we always like to end our episodes by saying we can't unify without you and I, in the same sentiment that there's no I in team.
Oh.
It happens together. So thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you for being a trailblazer.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is
Thank you,
awesome.
seriously.
We got to keep it going. I'll start the group text, but
Yes.
this is great.
Please do.
Hey, it's Bella Santos from the Conversationalist community. Thank you so much for watching our POVz episode on therapy. The best part about TC is that we want to hear everyone's points of view, including yours. Just text the word therapy to 1-877-222-1119 to get access to all things TC, and we hope to feature you on a future episode. See you next time!
Yay.
Lovely.
That was impressive.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the POV show here. I'm Sophie Beren reporting. Hello.
Sophie Beren.